What's going on, everyone? Dr. Todd from the Move Now Chiropractor, and I'm surrounded by the wonderful team at Gonson Spine and Wellness. We have Danny, Courtney, Emily. We're here at the clinic in the exercise area. This is episode 292. We're going to go through and we're going to talk about some of the highlights of what's coming up at the upcoming Impact event. This one's going to be different. This is number 11, right?
Yep.
Impact 11. So Danny, you put an outline together of what we're going to cover with all of our listeners. Some of the listeners are chiropractors that are part of Move Now University that have maybe been to an Impact event before, are newer members, never been here, non-members that want to know what this is all about. So take it away.
So first, I want to ask you, what is Impact? What is Impact all about? What is the purpose behind it, the why behind it, and what has it looked like in past years?
Okay, great question. Well, the history of it, that's probably where I'll start. I believe the first one we did was 2017. And the first one was meant to be a really small group, and we were digging really deep with a small group. We learned a lot from that one. The second one, we went bigger group. We had maybe 35 people here or something. We moved all our traction equipment out. It was a lot of work, which in this episode, if you're listening, you're not going to see it, but if you're watching, we'll probably walk around and show you the clinic so you can see in person what you're going to experience being here. But ultimately, we've done 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 11. This one we're expecting a pretty big attendance, and how it's evolved and the purpose of it. Well, it's evolved in that we've gotten a lot of feedback from our doctors and these clinics and the staff that we work with. So we have a great idea of what they're looking for, what they want, what they need. So we're always tailoring this to be beneficial for you guys, you and your team. The purpose of this, to begin with, is to essentially give you an in-person experience of how the flow of our clinic works. So you can look, you can actually see it, you can imagine how this is going to work in your clinic, so that as you're learning these systems and you're incorporating functional movement, corrective exercise, and again, the systems, you can see how we do it. We're going to go through it. You're going to get that actual physical experience of going through it. It's going to pattern into your brain better than just watching a video from home, but you're in here in person. And then you and your team is going to get to actually train with all of us as well, which is huge. Yeah. So let's say you have your person that you're trying to teach to do your exercise and your rehab. Well, they're going to be pairing up with Emily, and Emily's going to, she's going to basically take them, and we're going to have breakout sessions. She's going to be working with them, answering questions, which the last event was Emily's debut in Teaching Impact, right?
Yes, it was.
Right, remember that? Mm-hmm. And which was awesome. It's funny because it's stuff that Emily does on a daily basis, and she just doesn't know any different. And then we have other chiropractors and their staff coming out here, and they're blown away by just seeing how smooth the systems work. Yeah. But as far as Emily's concerned, she's like, I know it like the back of my hand. Yep. Right?
Oh yeah. Every day.
Every day. And so I think I answered the question as far as the purpose of it, but it's to speak to and get the doctor and all the different staff what they need. So we encourage you, if you're going to come out to this, you as the doctor, bring your team. Bring at least one of your team. If you can bring more, bring more. It's a great investment having them come out here because yes, there's air travel, there's hotel, there's all of that. The difference is they're going to go back on Monday. They're going to be super pumped up. They're going to be able to visualize what's going on. They're going to be behind you 100% when you're talking about, hey guys, here's why we're going to train in this system, instead of them looking at you with a blank stare and thinking, this sounds like more work, how come we're doing this? Instead, they realize, oh, there's intention, there's a reason for this, and ultimately at the end of the day, it's going to make it smoother for us, easier for us, more fun for us, but most importantly, great for our patients and great for the clinic.
Yep.
So that's what Impact is.
Yeah, and doing doctor support and hearing from our new members and stuff like that, they do always ask, when is your next Impact going to be? Because they want to see you. They want to learn directly from you in person, pick your brain, ask questions. So that is another big reason why our members want to come out here. They want to meet you in person.
So this is probably a bad time to tell you I'm not going to be here at the next one.
Oh,
no.
man.
No, I'm just joking. I'll be here. All right.
So they just want to see everything in person, how it flows, the staff, you, pick your brain, ask you questions. So that is a big thing for Impact. And like you said, it is going to be a little bit different this year because we are going to bring all of our staff into this. So Courtney is our front desk. What name did we give you this morning?
Patient care coordinator.
Patient care coordinator, that's right. Yeah. So she does front desk, and so she's going to go through the flow of a new patient, how you greet them, tours of the office, all the little things that go on behind that desk. And then Emily, again, is going to be doing stuff back here with your exercise therapist, so that way they can see how she does it on a day-to-day basis. Since she does know everything like the back of her hand, it is so fluid for her, and it's just get in there and get it done. People can see that flow and how she does it. Paul will also be here, unfortunately. He's not here today, but he will be here. So there's going to be 2 exercise therapists. Courtney is also going to be up front with Caitlin. She's a little bit newer, but she's going to help out up front and maybe be able to speak to some of your newer staff, maybe that were brought on for the purpose of implementing Move Now into your clinic. So she can go over how she was trained, how she learned, the easiest things for her to kind of catch on to how we do things in the clinic. And then, of course, Dr. Todd, you're going to be with all of the doctors back there. And we do have a couple of speakers coming. Who are those so far?
Well, we are almost to the point where we're solidifying this 100%. They should be out here in person. And worst case scenario, if some of them don't come in person, we have a big, 50-inch screen that we pull down, and we do it digitally. We've done that at some in the past, but I'm meeting with Holly and Dr. Miles Bodson from Cash Practice to solidify them coming out in person. They are awesome to listen to, and literally every time they speak, it gives me some new idea of how to tweak something that we're doing in practice. So I love hearing them talk. We utilize Cash Practice. We utilize a whole lot of their systems. So it's not like we're promoting it just for the sense of promoting it. We promote it because it makes our practice work smoother. It helps our patients. It helps our team. So we absolutely love it. They're going to come out, talk about it, teach a bit, but really just get people motivated to the purpose of why we use things like the care plan calculator and the drip email system and the payment processing and the wellness score and right, I nailed all of them, right?
Yeah.
The four main things that we use on a daily basis with Cash Practice. I'm going to see if we can get Dr. Jeff Kronk from Florida to fly out here. He'll probably come out here. He almost never turns down coming out to Idaho when invited, even though he has to fly across the country. But Dr. Kronk is amazing. If you do any personal injury work, he is the main guy that got us reignited into being excited about doing personal injury. If you're burnt out on personal injury, and you're like, oh, I don't want to deal with the insurance companies, the attorneys, he really helps get that passion going again, understanding spinal ligament injuries. On a side note too, a really special thing that we'll have here that we'll be able to show off, just for the sake of maybe doctors just seeing this, but in a room right behind us, we just pulled the trigger on getting a DMX, a digital motion x-ray, installed in the clinic. It's going to be here. We're going to be trained up on it, and that's all going to be in place well before this next Impact event. So that's a really cool thing on top of everything else that we have going on in our clinic. And let's see, other speakers.
Perry.
Dr. Perry Barnhill. Perry, I didn't forget about you, Perry. All right, so Dr. Perry Barnhill from Fearless Chiropractor. He is a good friend. He's our compliance guy. He's our go-to when we have an insurance denial, when we get, some kind of sketchy letter in the mail, if we have a question on notes and documentation, which he's worked with us in the past. He's helped us refine some things, even billing-wise. So there's really not a whole lot that we have to ask of him now, but he's there as our security blanket.
Yep.
And he's just an awesome individual. So he drives out here, hangs out with us, does a fun presentation. He's here in person for you to pick his brain. Likely I'll see if I'll get my buddy Dr. Chad Woolner to come out here too. He's actually local, and Dr. Chad Woolner is the guy that actually turned me on to ClickFunnels back in the day. He's the one that motivated me to even start Move Now University from building a digital platform. So he is the tech guy who just fueled a whole lot of me getting started into the computer end, and I've always been in the video editing end of stuff, but how to organize it on all the new tech. So he has great ideas on marketing and how to use technology for marketing. So I'm sure I can get him to come over here and present as well. So that, what is that? We got Miles and Holly, we got Chad, we got Dr. Kronk, we got Perry. So at least 4 speakers. And probably even maybe remotely digitally, we can get another good buddy of mine, Dr. Ed LaCara, who he's the guy that clinically got me interested in functional movement. And so he's out in Texas. I don't think I'm going to ask him to fly out here just because he's joined us remotely and he does stuff in his clinic remotely. And that's been really, really beneficial, doing it through Zoom and then having that where everyone's here in person, and then we can basically go through and act things out and do various tests while he's instructing us. So that worked awesome last time. So that's 5. Yeah, I mean, there could be 5 different, and then it's just a matter of, I mean, fitting this in on top of all the stuff that we're gonna do. So so just mind you, we're planning on going like 22-hour days.
Yep.
Right?
That's a normal day for us, so
like
it's fine.
Get 2 hours of
Fine.
sleep, you'd be good.
Yep, we're good.
Which is kind of what you're working on.
Yeah,
last
that's
night.
been,
Yeah. My sleeping bag.
yeah, it's
Put a
been my
fire pit out there,
routine
too.
for like the last week or 2, so I mean, it's totally fine.
Yeah, and really though, it is going to be about a 9-hour day each day, and the way we organize it is not trying to teach you everything when you come out here, but it's answering the questions, gaining clarity, giving you the vision of how you're going to do this in your practice, and then being able to point you to all the resources that you need, so that those things you need to dive deeper into that just take some time to absorb, and going through the motions and learning, different functional tests and that sort of thing. That stuff you guys can do on your time. We're going to make sure you have all the tools and resources you need to do that.
Yep.
We're going to use your time as wisely as possible when you're out here, so that, again, your staff can connect with our staff. Doctors, and us are going to connect. Sometimes even doctors want to pick the brain of the staff and go off in those.
Yep.
So yeah, it's gonna be an awesome event. It's been a while since we did one. What was the last one we did?
Last April.
End of March last
March.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
It's
been
been a
almost
year.
a year. Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's been so much that has evolved in the last year. So it's kind of nice that we took a little bit of a break so we can get all this stuff in place. And I feel like we have so much more to offer clinics as a whole
Right.
now, since we've got everything dialed in here, and we've evolved a lot in the last year.
And that's mostly because Danny's worked with a bunch of clinics weekly, where she's going through, working with her team, doing Zoom calls, and so she's really learned so much about how a variety of clinics learn and how they progress through the system, that we're changing the format of this one per Danny's input, and helping complete that and cater to the process that she's got down so well, that is really, that's not my forte. There's stuff that Danny's going to train on and teach that she knows much, much more thoroughly than I do from a manager standpoint. And just the fact that you've worked with all of our team here with training, and then also from a billing standpoint too. I mean, she can answer billing questions for you, but systems, I mean, Danny's really learned all these systems inside and out since you started with us. How long has it been now?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. 2.5 years, but if you haven't heard any of the history of Danny, she's been in chiropractic now, what is it, like 17 years?
18.
18? Okay. I thought I was shooting high. I should have said 19.
I just
Should have said
aged
19.
myself, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. And mind you, again, for the audience, if you're watching this and you're wondering, like more of a history of Danny, there's podcasts that we just did a couple months ago, really going in depth about Danny's background. We did a whole podcast with Courtney and talked about her background in chiropractic, because she's super passionate at the front desk, learning other departments as well. I mean, having someone that has the passion like this for chiropractic is definitely who you want at the front desk.
Yes.
And then Emily over here, who's like the jack of all trades, who's just learned everything there is to do.
Yeah, there's really nothing left in the clinic to learn. I mean, besides being your scribe, but not today.
But her main role, she mans this department, but she can jump into traction and do traction. She can jump at the front desk and help on the front desk. She can verify insurance. She can build a financial through cash practice sometimes.
Sometimes, not all the time. Math is not my strong suit, so I stay away from those.
All right, cool. All right, what's our next topic?
So I showed our last impact video that we had, kind of that little commercial video that was made. I shared it with Courtney this morning because she had never seen it before.
Oh, really?
So I shared it with her so that way she could watch it before we did this today. So now I'm going to turn it over to you. Since watching that video, what are you most excited about for this impact coming up from hearing what we have to say and then watching that video?
Sure. Well, I wasn't exactly expecting this, but it's great. Yeah, so I did watch that video this morning, and honestly, it just made me even more excited. I think it was a great video, very well put together, and I'm just excited to be a part of something that is bringing more knowledge to the community and other doctors in the area. And I think it's great on top of that just to be around people who like what you like, get what you get, to be in an environment where you're just around people that think the same way you do, and you get to share that knowledge with people, and it just creates this amazing environment, and everybody can just get even more excited. So like he said, you go back on Monday and you have all the knowledge, but you also have the excitement that's been built that whole weekend too. So
Yeah.
looks like a lot of fun.
And in your chiropractic history of working in clinics and whatnot, I think you were telling me that you've gone to seminars and stuff, right?
Yes, I have.
Right.
I don't know if I can say who. Like, is that fun?
I don't know. Maybe.
You can say which ones that
Say it. Go for it.
The previous chiropractor I worked for was involved with Dr. Stephen Franson and the Remarkable Practice.
Who's actually
And-
who Stephen Franson is actually a Gonstead chiropractor.
Yes,
Which,
and
ironic. Yeah.
yeah, he and Pete Camiolo is also Gonstead. They kind of run it together. And my previous employers we flew to Chicago, we flew to Dallas, and we flew to Orlando.
Yeah.
So I've been to 3 of those, and so I kind of have a little bit of experience with that, and I'm excited to kind of be more a part of it from the background scenes.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. So like instead of just attending, now you're here on the teaching end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's really awesome because I kind of have an idea of how that goes and a good way to inspire people. And like you said, I do have a lot of passion for this area, and so I'm excited to share that with people too.
Yeah, that's going to be great. And just to clarify too, because I've been to lots and lots of different seminars. This seminar, and granted, I'm not saying that Dr. Franson's seminar is or isn't like this. I'm not super familiar with it, but I'm guessing it's a lot of teaching and mechanics as well.
Yes.
Patient communication
Lot of
and whatnot.
systems.
So some seminars in chiropractic, so obviously not the ones that you've been to, but some that other chiropractors maybe have been to, and to be honest, like it was never something that I really loved going to. It's what we call the rah-rah seminars.
Oh.
Which means all it is just like trying to get people motivated and excited, which like it's important for people to be motivated and
Yeah.
excited about what you do.
Absolutely.
But it's like you need substance.
For sure.
You need like, okay, great, I'm excited, but what do I do with the patient when this happens?
Yeah.
Or like, how do I do these 5 steps,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And granted, on the flip side, only having the mechanics and not having any passion or communication or human touch to it, that's hollow as well.
Yeah.
And so those are things that we will touch on as we go through our systems and we go through the mechanics. We're going to role play. We're going to talk about the patient objections. We're going to talk about how to tap into really connecting to a patient and understanding them and going through that process so that they can understand that what you have to offer is the most important thing that they may ever have in front of them for their future and for their whole circle of influence, for their whole family. So it's like if they don't get the care that they need, their life will never be the same. And so that's something that we need to take on as the chiropractor. Our team needs to understand how important that is. And so then it comes down to like, well, if you didn't do the recall properly, if you didn't handle the objection properly, unfortunately, that's going to impact someone's life because you didn't know the words to say, you didn't know the questions to ask,
Right.
you didn't know the steps to go through.
Yeah.
And so it ups that level of importance, that
Yeah.
like this is not a game.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, I would say role playing is one thing that we did do a lot too, and that is so helpful. Just not that you're gonna nail it perfectly every time, but just getting you used to the mechanics and kind of having like the muscle memory of, okay, how do I react in this situation?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. And that's also like a lot of my communication training background was with Dr. Fred DiDomenico, who I'm still in contact with. He's a close friend. I highly recommend if anyone wants to dial in their communication training. I think he is one of the absolute best. Dr. Fred from Elite Coaching, and he really broke down and taught how to understand that communication dance. And it's not because you're manipulating someone. It's not because you're trying to take advantage of someone. It's because you want to connect with them so that you can understand them and that you can develop rapport. And you know, from a sincere standpoint of trying to keep them away from the medical model,
Right.
you know, of drugs and surgery and chasing symptoms, and really get them to understand, like, this takes more work, this takes more effort, but the rewards you get are going to be so much more massive.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So Emily, what are you excited about this year for Impact? I know last Impact, it was your first one. You're really excited to be hands-on and being in front of all these doctors and their staff. And I know that you kept in contact with some of the staff members, which I think is really cool. They reach out to you, Marco Polo, send you text messages from that encounter that you had with them the last Impact. So what are you looking forward to this year with kind of the new dynamic that we're running with?
I'm just excited for gonna have way more room to be able to show these people or show everyone, you know, the exercises that we go through, because last time it was a little tricky. We really didn't have a lot of room to go through, like teaching them how to teach a warm up or. Yeah,
We're
we
all
were
in
jammed
here.
in my department, and I was like, well, I have no room. But now we're gonna have full access to all the kettlebells and
So, like-
all of the equipment.
So, like, essentially have access to our space next door, which David, who used to be our exercise therapist here, you'll see him in some of the videos inside of Move Down University. He's a personal trainer. He takes on the space next door. We're coordinating it so that we can utilize his space as well. So we'll have like another 1,000 square feet or so.
Yeah.
And so, like, we're going to be spread over about 4,000 plus square feet with all of our attendees.
Yeah.
Plus, it's going to be super nice. It's the middle of April, so
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
gonna
if
be
we have
gorgeous.
to like scoot outside into the parking lot,
Oh, I'm totally down for that.
we can get some fresh air too.
I'll have a relay race. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Hula hooping.
Actually,
we
maybe.
haven't pulled the hula hoops out in a long time.
Yes.
We need
You
to
know,
do
I will
our
do
hula
that.
hooping contest again.
I will absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Run with no, I'm just kidding. We're gonna pretend I didn't say that. Test the grip strength.
So, what else are you excited about?
I'm excited to meet more of the doctors that, you know, me, because every now and then, like, I'll jump on Zoom with Danny to help out with the doctors, and it's just gonna be exciting to meet all of them in person and all of their staff, because, like, I can talk face to face with a doctor and I can tell him what to do, but until, like, I get his staff member in front of me or I get him in front of me, then it just makes way more sense, because that's just how I'm able to train, is like I have to physically see you and do it right after you in order for me to like make it make sense. So it's just a lot less talking, a lot more doing this time around.
Yeah.
Instead of like last year where it was more talking. And now I'll have all this space. You know, movement assessments are one of the biggest things that you guys learn through Move Now University. And now I'm going to have all this space to
You'll have an
really-
extra set of hands
Yeah,
too.
exactly. I'll have I'm not going to call him my assistant, but
Paul.
associate,
call him Paul.
my associate Paul, that he can help me out, because I'm just excited for the turnout this year.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
And I'll tell you, if you know Emily, you'll know this is excited version of Emily.
Yes, this is
Okay.
super excited version of Emily.
This is
I
excited
promise I'm
Emily.
excited. I'm just really bad with.
This is super excited Emily, and you'll meet Paul, aka pissed off Paul, but but he's not pissed off. He just might look pissed off sometimes. But Paul and Emily together, that's your free entertainment for the weekend.
We
Yes.
are quite entertaining. That's very. You should listen to the bickering we do back here. More
Yeah.
or less, it's just me poking fun at him because I have no one else to poke fun at. So.
Yeah.
Poor Paul. He
Poor
and
Paul.
He
again,
does really get the brunt of it.
and again, Paul's not even here to defend himself.
I know, he's never
But
here
he
to defend
doesn't. He just
himself.
sits there and smiles and takes it, and he's like, it's okay.
We love Paul.
And in the background over here, we got Dr. Zach who just walked in. So maybe Dr. Zach wants to come in the camera.
What are you eating?
And what are you eating?
Oh.
A Stroop?
I was like, what is a
A Stroop?
Stroop
A
waffle.
Stroop band?
Oh, Stroop waffles.
I think you may have to scoot in a little bit more. But here, I'm gonna throw you on the spot, and then I'll just ask the question first, and then I'll hand the mic over. So Dr. Zach has been here for the last several impacts, teaching as well. And the cool thing from his standpoint that he can speak on, and I'll hand this over and let him just speak to whatever comes to mind. I just threw him into this. He was walking by, grabbed him. Is he came here from chiropractic school. His background's in Gonstead. Didn't really have a whole lot of background in a lot of the exercise rehab world. And so I think a cool testament is Dr. Zach has learned the systems. He knows them like the back of his hand. It's all he has known as far as his time in practice. This is how he looks at things clinically, how he works through talking with patients. And so he can share that experience because he still remembers when he came out here initially, because it wasn't too long ago. I mean, it's been a little over 3 years now, right? Almost 4. All right, I'm gonna have to mark my calendar. All right, I'll hand that over to you.
So, question is more so like, what was it like learning the process, or?
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have doctors and staff come out like we always do, right? And I think a thing that you can relate to is if we do have some doctors that are earlier in practice, or just doctors that know nothing about like all the systems and they're used to like an adjustment only clinic, that's almost the same. I mean, like they could be in practice for 10, 15 years doing no rehab at all, and now they're getting introduced to it. Yep. You got introduced to it because it wasn't anything that you studied in school. You were gung-ho doing Gonstead, and then you opened up that world to, oh, we're doing rehab, we're doing exercise, we're doing curve correction, right?
Yes, I mean, in terms of functional movement, like I knew a little bit about it in undergrad and then studied it a little bit in school, but being able to implement MoveWell 3 was really impactful, just knowing what joint was misaligned, how you can be able to correct it, and then giving them some type of exercise to be able to improve that region of the body, and just knowing, all right, somebody has a muscle spasm, what exercise should you put them through, what exercise shouldn't you put them through, and what stuff can they do at home. So I think that's a really impactful thing. They get to learn, you get to develop your skills. The movement assessment itself, I think, was just really helpful. We took things from FMS and SFMA, put them together, put it into condensed form, and then being able to retest a couple weeks later is impactful for the patient, because then they get to see a lot about how they've improved, what mobility they've gained, what strength they can build. Using the belt system has been really fun too. So I think it's a great engaging way for a patient to learn more about what they're getting themselves into. And then for yourself too, I mean, understanding how you're supposed to be able to move better and applying those things at home, at the gym, can be really beneficial as well. So yeah, I spent about, I think, 50 hours going through all those videos when I first started working here, and then learned a lot of the stuff just by my own time. I mean, I think that's a great resource that we have, is we have all those videos that you can just be studying on your own. And then I just grab anybody I could. I'd grab my wife, I'd grab my friends, and I'd go take them through a movement assessment and just see like, oh, you have this. You have an anterior pelvic tilt on that spot, or this is where your shoulder dysfunction might be. And you just keep building your skills, and then you start watching people at the gym, that weird person, like watching them doing a squat or something else. You'll build that skill of understanding what that means and how that affects their joint, how that affects their musculature, and you just become a better clinician overall.
Awesome. And there's videos too of Dr. Zach going through, like inside of MoveNow University. There's a whole part where, if you remember, we went through the functional movement assessment with Kaylee. Yep, with Kaylee. And Kaylee's the one that's always smiling. That's how you find Kaylee.
Which is funny, because it's like...
I'm just joking. She doesn't smile. She didn't smile. And she's not here to defend herself anyway, but she used to be my scribe back in the day, and she's in some of the videos as well. She still comes in and gets adjusted periodically. Hi, Kaylee, if you're watching this, which you're probably not. All right, and then I think, are there other topics you want to cover? Because at some point through this too, I think what would be cool is to highlight some of the key pieces in the clinic that people can see, and we can walk around
Yeah.
and we can show those. Like, just quick tour of the clinic, and then we can stop at each place, like, okay, traction, x-ray, and then our functional posture stuff with Stroops. Okay, because that's new, and that's a cool thing that a lot of doctors are going to want to see, because some doctors are going to say, like, I got a spot for that, I want to put that in my clinic too. When we have DMX here, definitely that's something we can show off on a subsequent video. We don't have it yet. It'll be here in about 20, 30 days. So, I mean, anything you want to cover before we get to that?
No, I think, taking everybody around the clinic and explaining things will roll right into the takeaways, which is the last thing that I want to touch on. But we can roll through that, and I think that'll seamlessly go into our takeaways.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let's go do that then. Here we are outside the clinic. This is the front door. And then also, too, we're also giving rides in a 1,000 horsepower Tesla as well. All right, so a lucky winner.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
All right, come on in. So this is our clinic, Gonson Spine and Wellness. That's where we are at the front office. There's Courtney again. And holding the camera is Caitlin, who is our newest front office. I'm going to flip it around. We're going to
Flip it
say,
around.
hi, Caitlin. Hi. All right. So some of the training that we'll be doing when it's front desk stuff and role playing will physically be up here.
Yep.
Okay, we'll physically be going through stuff, which
Yes.
helps. We have our 2 consultation rooms. So this is where we see new patients over here. So you have consult 1, consult 2, okay? And then back over here is our billing office. It's a mess right now. We just took down Christmas stuff. We got Emily over there doing something she doesn't want us to do. Oh my gosh.
She's eating.
Free dairy free, I promise.
Okay,
Okay.
great. So billing office in here. Over here is our traction area. And we will go and show you the flow of how patients are going through and doing exercise and traction and adjusting. And granted, we know that a lot of our doctors are not doing traction in office and don't have a background in chiropractic biophysics, and some of our members get inspired to learn this stuff and want to do it in-house, and some just want to do the home care. But we do recommend doing some level of curve correction, even if it's just home care. But we'll show you how we do it in office.
Yep.
Right.
Which I know we've got one new member who is really excited to see all of this stuff when she comes out here.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. And then I'm gonna have you come on over here. This is something, and actually I'm gonna see if I can get Dr. Rowe to come out here as well. And if not, he can do something virtually, and we can go through this. And really, Dr. Zach does quite a bit with ProTech, so maybe even Dr. Zach will go through like a demo on ProTech for impact. Sure. If I can't get Dr. Rowe to come out. Yeah. So I'll see. All right. And so ProTech is something that we've started using a couple years ago. This is a upright spinal decompression where you can actually take a person through range of motion while they're in decompression. So it's a pretty cool technology. It's not a lay down decompression unit. It has a smaller footprint than a lay down decompression, and it's just unique and different, and clinically is very, very helpful for a variety of cases. So this is on our traction floor. We have patients do this every day. And the rest of this traction stuff, this is chiropractic biophysics traction. So we have this big traction area here. And then in this room, and I'm making Caitlin weave through all the equipment. So this is one of our newer things that we got in here. We're still kind of finishing setting up the room, because I guess we haven't hung up our pictures on the wall yet.
Yep.
But this is a self-propelled treadmill, and this is from Stroops. All right, so I work with Stroops very closely on stuff. They're the ones that also manufacture our neck traction unit. But Stroops are just slastics, elastic bands with a vinyl sleeve over it for safety, and it looks more high-tech, it's more durable. And how this works, we have all these different harnesses and whatnot, and we can actually put a patient on this, pull them further into a failed posture. They have to resist that, hold themselves neutral while adding motion. So that's why there's a 3D frame that's bolted down around the patient. So we're pulling people into different positions. Like, let's say someone has an upper cross syndrome with rounded shoulders and forward head like this. Well, we can pull them further into that position, and they have to actually resist and open up and stand nice and upright while they're walking, and it helps reprogram the brain significantly from a motor control standpoint. So this is a cool thing that we'll play with and we'll show you, and all these fun things to see in person and try out and give you ideas of if these are things that you want to be adding in your practice.
For sure. Yep.
Right. All right. And then over here, this is our adjusting room. Some of the training we'll do, some of the role playing we'll do is just show you the flow of how we run through stuff. Okay. And we'll show you the setup here. So if you're looking for ideas of how to maybe even tweak your adjusting area, like how we do this, and granted, the vast majority of our Move Now doctors are not Gonstead chiropractors. That's okay. You don't have to do Gonstead to be part of this. You don't have to do CBP to be part of this. We just teach how we do it. But like when a patient comes in, we have these crystal clear, awesome full spine x-rays on a vertical 42-inch monitor. And so like the flow of how we see a patient also has to do with the experience that a patient goes through. Okay. So this is our adjusting room in here. And we have these 3 changing rooms that lead into an adjusting room that's more unique to a Gonstead setup again, but we'll show you. And then this window right here is a big one-way window. So from the outside, it just looks like a mirror, but from the inside, when we show that off over here, from the inside, we can look out and we can oversee our traction area. So how we built this clinic was with a lot of intention. And so you might be making modifications to your clinic. You might say, no way, Jose, am I changing anything in my clinic? But thanks for the ideas. Again, you can see how we put this place together. And then over in here, this is our x-ray room. We got Jenna. Jenna is our new patient coordinator. She's Scribe, my assistant. She's awesome. We did a whole episode on Jenna not too long ago. Jenna, say hi.
Hello.
She's so soft-spoken. That's the first time you've ever been soft-spoken. All right, and so here is our x-ray room, and we also have a custom traction unit that we built that is cut out here because this wheels over here, and then it fits into the x-ray frame, so we can put a patient in traction and we can x-ray them while they're in traction. So there's some, again, just showing off some of the unique stuff that we do here. By no means is this a prerequisite of everyone who's watching this has to do in their clinic, but it just gives you some more context and ideas of how we practice. We take posture pictures right here, like every doctor can absolutely do that. You get a backdrop, you stand here, you use Posture Screen Mobile on an iPad, you take a front and a side view. That's something that we do in addition to our x-ray workup. And Jenna right now is actually marking some posture pictures, which we won't show on camera to violate patient confidentiality, but you can see on the background of what she's doing. So she's marking some posture pictures. She's going through and marking up some x-rays as well. And that's and Jenna loves going out of town and going to weddings like all the time. She's always gone, but she's not going to be gone for Impact because she's going to be here helping teach.
Wouldn't miss it.
That's right. And so highly just demand, watch the episode that I did with Jenna, and Jenna's going to be here helping teach your team how to become like Jenna.
Yeah.
Right? Right. Okay. And then let's see, what else we got here? Oh, yep, our exercise area. This is where we started. So this is where we started. We will take you through how we have fairly, low-tech, minimal equipment. It's not super high-dollar equipment. It's not all that elaborate. It's twisted steel and sex appeal. We got we got kettlebells. We have some Stroops racks here, and we have Slastics. And we really have our tools from our home mobility kit. We just have multiple home mobility kits that are on display. Like you have J-Canes over there. We have, back over on this side, we have some bands. When a patient walks in over here, you're doing a great job being steady with the camera, by the way. No video background, by the way. So we have double lacrosse balls in here, neck trigger point tools. Patient grabs a timer, they grab whatever sequence warm-up has been programmed for them. These are all systems that, if you're hearing this for the first time, we're gonna be drilling this in. You're gonna understand how to put this in your clinic. And then we have our board. So we go through how the board works, how we pre-program the board before the shift, how the timers work. Up on the wall behind, if you want to pan to that, we have our belt system of functional movement up over there with all the names on there. So you have white, yellow, blue, and then it goes over to green, orange, and black over there as well. And yeah, that's pretty much the clinic. And then, and then next door Can we go next door real quick? Let's do that too.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's over
Okay,
there.
so come on over here too. This is our additional space, and this is our, don't show this room because it's not clean, but we're gonna slide over here. So this is really David's side to the room. So David is our old exercise therapist here. He's previewed in a lot of our training videos inside of Move Now University. Awesome guy. Well, he still works with us, but he has his own deal over here. So he trains patients, and he trains some of our patients, his own clients. But if you have an exercise space and you want to do more of like fitness and take a patient beyond, improving functional movement and now start building strength and power and do that in-house, that's what we've done here with David. We've taken advantage of that. And so he helps our patients go to that next level, weight loss, strength goals. And so his area here, it's called Living Light Fitness. He's got a sign here that you can see, which is pretty awesome, that he made with his mom, which is so cool. And actually, come on in here too, and we'll show off this. So we're gonna have this whole area to be able to really work and train out of on Saturday. So it's nice to be able to have all this space too. Believe it or not, this used to be our exercise area in our clinic. And the reason that that's relevant for you watching this is because we realized we didn't need this big space for patient care. So we did some demo work inside of our clinic, like we knocked some walls down, and the other exercise area that we just came from is about half the size of this. And we found out that actually worked better for our flow and keeping an eye on patients, and we can still see a good number of patients, and they get great care, and it just made things work smoother versus being so spread out in the clinic. All right. That's me talking the whole time. Do you have anything you want to throw in there, Danny?
I don't think there's anything left to kind of throw in there. We touched on everything. It's going to be super important to bring staff along for this. A lot of our members are solo right now, but they're thinking about adding staff in the future. So if you're one of those members, it's going to be really important for you to come to this. If you have staff members currently and you're trying to figure out where to place everyone or how to train your staff while you're trying to learn these systems too, this is going to be really important because we will kind of take that over for you, and your staff can learn firsthand with our staff while you're focusing on what you need to focus on with Dr. Todd. So this one's going to be really, really cool the way that we have it laid out.
Yeah. So make sure if you have not RSVP'd yet for Impact, it's in April. Is it April 14, 15?
Yep, our tax day getaway.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So April 14, 15 of 2023 this year. And make sure that you go to impact.movenowU.com. So impact.movenowU.com. That's where you can register, you can sign up. If you are a Move Now member, you may have a comped ticket. There's a whole way of still reserving your spot on there. If you've been to them before and you want to buy a ticket, you can do that as well. We still have our early bird pricing as far as at the time that this is released.
Yep.
And you can add a bunch of your staff on there. We have some hotels nearby. You can reach out to Danny or myself. We can tell you where to stay. It's pretty affordable. We have some really close by hotels. You can even just walk over to the clinic from there. And so yeah, I just strongly recommend that you take advantage of this, not just for yourself, but come out with your staff. That's going to be huge. If you don't come out with your staff, I guarantee you're going to get here and you're going to look around at other doctors with their staff and you'd be like, man, I wish I would have brought my staff here.
Yep.
So I'll just save you that and just tell you, bring your staff.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Cool. Awesome.
Cool.
Anything else? We covered it all?
I think we covered it all.
Cool. All right. Well, this is definitely a different version of our podcast, but a fun one. We did it in person. And so if you haven't already, as far as on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like it's up and coming. We're growing this thing. So spread it out there to the chiropractors and put a comment below. We'd love that. And if you haven't already as well, you can watch our demo. It's demo.movenowU.com. It's a video we did about maybe 2 years ago. It's an older video, but it's me going behind the scenes and showing you a lot of the stuff inside of our portal. There's a couple things we've even added since then, but it shows you the format of how Move Now University works. It's online, there's in person, there's connecting with Danny, connecting with me. So that's really what it means to be a member of it. It's not just username, password, and we're never going to talk to you again.
Yeah.
It's like it's entering into a relationship.
Yep.
Really is what it is. So No crazy people, please.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And that's it. So we'll see you on the next one.